Today, we're going to talk about restructuring and turnarounds. Turnarounds seldom turn. That's the great advice from Warren Buffett, legendary investor and one of the richest men in the world. Turnarounds are about being short on cash. The situation is usually one that happens over time. You're running out of cash. Things are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Customers aren't paying you the way you'd like. The people, whether it's the banks, vendors, employees, everybody wants cash. Everybody wants to get paid. It's a tough situation. One of the things that happens is you get caught up in the situation. You don't really realize how bad it is until it's too late. That's the number one reason that turnarounds fail is people don't act fast enough. By the time you say, I'm not going to bring in help until I've tried everything I possibly can. Well, if you wait until you've tried everything you possibly can, it's just too late. And nobody's going to be able to help you. So make sure you act fast enough. Don't wait till it's too late. Wait till, recognize you've got a challenge and then move forward. The next thing is people don't focus on the cash. They're focusing on profitability, on growth, on whatever it might be. Cash is the key thing in a turnaround. And then the third thing is somewhat related is you don't accurately assess the situation. You have to accurately assess what's going on, how bad is it, and what are my options. So let's talk about that a little bit. First, there's 3 steps to a turnaround. You have to assess the situation. That's critical. Then you quickly need to make a plan and then act upon your plan. Take the steps that you need to. Some of those can be really uncomfortable, tough steps. Let's talk about assessing your situation. How deep is the hole? That's a really important thing to understand. Are we upside down by $100,000, $1 million, $10 million? What's the number? And what's our time? Time is so critical in a turnaround. How much time do we have before we completely run out of cash and it all shuts down, it all collapses? If you're saying, I've got 30 days left, help me, wow, that is an incredibly difficult situation. You're probably not going to make it. If you say, I've got 3 to 6 months, still really tough, but it's a lot better than 1 month. If you get to the point and say, I'm having a lot of trouble, I might have a year left, now your odds of making it go up dramatically. So this comes back to the don't wait too long. And then think about what assets are available to you. And of course, financial assets, cash, borrowing, those types of assets are really important. Also, business assets in the business. I've got inventory or I've got employees, people. So I've got also talent. What talent do I have? What differentiators do I have? There's so many different kinds of assets you need to assess when you're looking at the situation. And then what are the options for getting cash? How do I return to a cash flow positive situation? It's not just about profitability. In fact, profitability can be very confusing. It leads you completely in the wrong direction. You'd be upside down like this guy on the rope. You need to be focused on cash flow, not on profits. So how do we collect faster and pay more slowly? There's some tools you can use to do that. So the 12-week cash flow forecast is one of the really critical ones, and that can help you communicate more effectively. Next is reducing expenses, and that can be very closely tied to pricing. Reducing expenses, of course, most people are been in a tight situation for months. I'm going to, I've already stopped paying for everything I can think of to not spend money on. That's great. One of the things, I've got a whole nother video coming out about data analytics, and that's about getting into an even more detailed view of the company. We do that by drawing information not just from the accounting system and the really detailed information in the accounting system, but also in your payroll system, HR system, in your operations systems, in your ERP, all the different parts in the CRM, of course, with your sales information. If you suck all the data out of those systems, you can get a much more granular analysis and cross-reference the various pieces together and get an amazing amount of insight in what's going on and find opportunities that you can't see just from a financial statement or even looking at invoices. It's a lot more information out there. And I've seen hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions of dollars of opportunity just jump onto the screen. So that's another set of tools. Again, there'll be another video with more details on that. But I found opportunities to change the customer mix, change the product mix, change the pricing, and that can dramatically change the cash flow situation. All these analysis pieces helps you build a forecast that then lets you have a good conversation with your financing sources, whether it's an existing bank or lender or investor or new sources of capital. So all those are different possibilities. And then growth. Growth is what I hear so often. I'm going to grow my way out of the situation. It sounds like a great idea, but when you really look at it, for most companies, when they sell something, they don't actually collect the money for 30, 60, maybe more days down the road. And so what that means is the faster they increase their sales, the less cash they have because all of that, they've paid for the material or the employees up front, and they've got to wait to collect the money from the customer. So really, to get out of a turnaround situation, the appropriate thing is to shrink your sales, to focus on the really high value customers and products. And by doing that, you can actually increase your cash flow and get out of that situation. So there's some pros and cons that you need to think about with the different options for getting cash. Turnaround tools. You need to have the ability to really understand the financial situation, not just the financial statements, not just the banks or lenders, but the whole perspective on what the options really are, things that you aren't using from a financing perspective. And that brings me to perspective. Perspective is so important. And for someone who's been in the business, you're working so hard in that business, often there's opportunities that you just don't see because you're so close to the situation. That is what an outside perspective can bring and can often be critical in transforming it. The other is the emotional perspective. And that's kind of the attitude. When you're stressed out, you're feeling the weight, the pressure of all these decisions and how do I get out of this? Often having somebody who's been through this, has got different experiences and can walk you through, okay, what if we make this one change? What might things look like? Maybe there is a little help. Maybe there's hope of getting to that next step. That's an opportunity where you can take advantage of that other perspective. So having the financial skills, the financial tools, the perspective, and then the attitude, all those different pieces are really important for a successful turnaround. 3 critical steps to avoiding failure is number 1, act before it's too late. Don't wait till you've tried every single thing, because if you've tried every single thing, it's probably too late. Get perspective. Perspective can help from your emotional side, but also from the options and possibilities out there. And then it's about making the changes. Making the hard changes. Do we have to let somebody go? Do we have to get rid of that customer? What is it going to take to get where we need to go? I'm 𝐅𝐫𝐚𝐿. I'd love to talk to you about your restructuring and turnarounds. Check out more videos for other situations from the CFO perspective. Make sure you visit our YouTube channel and check out my LinkedIn page as well.